Hi everyone, and welcome to Bonnie's Best Creations. And today I'd like to show you a little something that I've had fun with, and I am working with scrap paper. I'm sure you're like me, and there's so many artists on YouTube that give me inspiration. Uh, Cori is one that uh, I have learned how to use scraps, and I will try and link her below. And Louise, she has also taught me a lot of what to do with scraps, and I will link her below as well. So, what I decided to do is show you what I've done with the scraps of paper that I have sitting around my desk. And I've made these cards from scraps, and I have used, I'll show you what I've used, one of these CD papers. And I have got a whole bunch of these sitting around. People don't use these much anymore. But I thought, well, what can I do with my scraps and work with this little disc holder? So come on along with me and I'll show you how I turned that into a card. So join me. Yes, scraps. So what I did is I have a bag of scraps, and what I decided to do is rip a lot of them in half. I have watercolor paper, old index cards, some of my watercolor fun didn't turn out so good, so I didn't want to throw it out, so I've used that. I've got, different graph paper. Yes, I have, papers from books. So you can find every brown paper, any scraps I did. Now, a lot of people will coffee dye their paper first, but these I did not coffee dye them. I just put them in a box like this, and I started by dripping different inks all over these papers. I have a cup of coffee with eyedroppers, brushes. I used Distress ink. I used different Distress oxides, and I just kept spritzing them with these different inks and coffee with water, drying them with my heat gun, spritzing again with different colors, purples, and these oxide inks are amazing because when you blend different colors, they turn into different colors. It's so fun to do this, and it's all random. Then what I did, and I learned this from Luise Heinzl. That's how I'm going to say her name. She's amazing. Look, check her link. And I took a rubber stamp of mine, which is of a dragonfly. You can take anything. And after all my papers had dried, and I sort of like the look of the way they are, I took StazOn ink. I took my stamp and randomly stamped here and there. No order, no order. Let that dry, and then, as you see, little bits of that stamp, not a lot, came through. Just little bits, which I liked. I just liked the way there's a little bit of his head. You see that? And I love, look at that, how the yellow came through, the purples and pinks. So that's what I did. Look at the watercolor. There's a bit of, this is watercolor paper, and the way the texture of that watercolor came through, that's the other side. So that's how I started with this. It was so, it's free. You feel free in just creating those modeled colors. And you know what's best with the coffee? It smells so good. So come along with me while I put these scraps together on this. Okay, so with my cutter and my CD envelope, I'm going to cut a thin sliver off either side of my, not very big, just a sliver. Okay, set that aside. And here, if you open this up, you can see I've opened that envelope right up. So now what I'm going to do is, with those scraps that I've showed you, I'm going to build all around the white space of this envelope. You do not have to use scraps. If you want to use your regular designer paper, you go right ahead and do that. But I'm going to show you how I've done this. And I'm going to try and not put a lot of, I want it to be balanced, but I'm just going to glue it down. See it? I'm going to take all, whatever I have, and don't be afraid to overlap it, because this is a collage. I'm going to use my vintage photo distress ink, and just this will help to blend your image all together. Pick the side that you think I want to keep that little bit of a dragonfly there. I like that. And then so just keep building away. And you want to, whatever size of this window that you want to keep, it's totally up to you. A little bit more ink there. So this is the way I'm building. I'm going to start down here. See which side. It's like a puzzle, but don't think. And if it's too big, just rip it. There's something freeing about this kind of art. There's something just, it's just, you don't have to think about it. And it's amazing how it comes together. Let's do that. I like that bit of pink there. How do I want that? I guess I like my little, I'm trying to do watercolor roses, trying to perfect that. I love experimenting. But now, if it doesn't quite cut the way I like it, I'm gonna use them in these scraps, in this collage. I don't know about you, but coming up to my room gets me away from the news. It's a sad day and age, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to, do I want, how big of an opening? I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring it up here so that I can see. And don't worry about the edges. We can cut that later. Now I've got some script there. Let's see if I can get, yeah, some more script. And just remember, it doesn't have to be the right side up. You can angle it. Look on both sides to see what side you like best. I think I'm going to glue that down a little bit more. Look at all the colors of that. Isn't that neat? Yeah, that looks good. See, it's like almost like a jigsaw puzzle. You can use doilies. You can use your coffee dyed coffee filters, whatever you have. see what I've got here. It's scrounging. There. There. Look at that. I love that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. See, it's just what your eye of what you want. Just ink that up. I'd sure love to know what you're working on. So if you choose to comment, I would love to know that. I'm going to just leave a little opening. It's your eye. This is yours to do. There, I had some leftover designer paper, and I really like that. So I'm going to use that. A little bit of balance. I've got script here and script there, so I'm going to look for a little tiny piece of, or maybe this. Look at, I found, maybe I'll do that. See, and it's too big. I'm gonna sometimes up here I feel like a mad scientist. I get so excited of how different these designs come together. Right. See, I think I like that. I'm going to leave it for now. I might add to it. Now what I'm going to do is flip this over and get my scissors. And what I'm going to do is just cut these pieces that... Now this card is going to be 5 by 5 because that's the size of the CD cover. So that's my now got to make sure I didn't glue that all together, which I did not, so that's good. I need to put a little bit more glue. You can use a glue stick, whatever. All right. Okay, now what I'd like to do is I'd like to add some stamping to this to blend it together. I don't want to stamp over this plastic part, so I'm just going to use a piece of paper just to hold that there. I'm going to use my walnut distress ink and I have just some a script stamp here. I'm just going to ink that up, and I'm just going to just random I'm going to slide this over. And then while I'm thinking of it, I mean, I showed you that I stamped all over with the dragonfly. So I think what I'm going to try and do is maybe I will use some black, whatever you have. I surround my desk with everything that I love. And so it's there when I need it. So let's stamps. If you want to use it digital, do that. There. Now don't worry about this part. We'll come back to that. Maybe I might just do another one here. There. All right. Okay, so something else I'd like to do, I'd like to do some splatters of some the pinks and that are in there. So I've got just an acrylic block here. I'm just gonna just put some ink on that, and with a spray bottle of water, I'm going just to water that down. And I am going to again cover that part of my window. I don't want to get splatter. And with a brush, I'm just going to water that down. And then just splatter. Just a little bit. I also have some old coffee, so I'm going to just mix that a bit. Let's see. Just a little bit of tap. Okay. I'm going to let that dry and I'll be back. Now, the next step that I'm doing, I got to remind you, watch with your heat gun. If you're heating to dry your surface a little bit faster, be careful of the plastic, it will melt. It started to melt here, but I don't care. I like that look. it changes it, and I like it, but just be careful. Now, I've been using a lot of my sewing machine, and what I'm going to do is, and you don't have to do this, I'm going to sew around this part of my base here. I just like the looks of it, but if you don't have a sewing machine, don't do it, just use the glue. Okay, so I did sew all the way around. And when I said you can either use glue, you've already glued it. So this is just an extra little bit of stitching I did. I want you to see where I did the script, just to add a little bit more dimension to your card. I told you, you got to be careful. There's a hole there, but you know what? Do not get distressed about it. We can cover it up. So now I have some images. You can use postcards. You don't have to use a figure, but I just love these little girls. And I'm going to tuck her in there. Isn't that sweet? If you have a stamped image that you like, but I'm going to use her. So I'm going to put her as best I can. Yep, she fits right there. Get my glue. Now, I don't want it to move. So what I'm going to do is open up my Now, if your image wasn't big enough, you can put designer paper on this part of it or stamp it. I'm just going to put that there, glue her there. My images, I just print them off. There's so many free images out there, and I really don't sell my cards, so I give them away. That's the pleasure. All right, so there she is. She's right in there. Now we're going to do some embellishing. Now, I've chose, once again, you can glue this. I am going to stitch all the way around again, but you do not have to stitch. If you don't have a sewing machine, then that's okay. Just glue it. So I shall be back. Okay, I'm just cutting off some of my threads there so you can see the stitching, just a regular stitch. Here I did zigzag, but you know what? It's what you like. That's the beauty of this. Now what I'm going to do is, some of this white is showing. I'm just going to all the way around the edge. Oh, there, okay. Now you see my image there, didn't come all the way over. I'm going to cover that. I'm going to punch a hole, and you could you don't even have to, I'm using a brad, but you don't even have to use a brad. You could do a stamp, and I'm just going to have this of the dragonfly. I'm sure you could use a pearl. Fasten that down. All right. Now we need a word. You can use that. Let's see what else I've got, depending on who you're sending it to. If you're sending it to somebody, you could say, blessed, and inside the note could go, I'm blessed to have you in my life, or makes it personalized. So let's do that, maybe. And I'm just going to, and what I do is just on the computer, I just type a whole bunch of words and print it off. And I'm going to turn it sideways. I don't want it straight. There. Now, I have, I don't know if you have any of the die cuts from Tim Holtz, and I have a few of them, and I've cut them out and I've colored them and then just heat emboss them so that they look kind of shiny. And I think that looks very pretty. So I'm going to glue that on. Use a little bit more tackier glue so that it sticks. I'm gonna put that there. And let's see what else I've got. You know, I got some, I love lace, so maybe she's very vintage looking. This glue I have is beautiful because it dries clear. And maybe I'm going to put that lace there. I do use Fabri-Tac for gluing laces and that down. So as long as I can get the I'm just going to put that there. Doesn't take very much to... Now, I kept the front and the back of that CD thing cover together. You could cut it off. I just think it makes a little bit sturdier of a card. Okay, I've cut some coordinating cardstock for my card, and I'm just going to center that. You know what? You do not have to spend a lot of money. This is the beauty of creating, and to make, if you like it, the look of things and what you just got to enjoy what you have. And turning those everyday things that you have stashed away and use it. There, I'm going to center that as best I can. You can use buttons, old buttons, your ribbon. What I'm going to do, I bought these at the Dollar Tree. I think they're for sewing. And I just put these on to hold it. many as you need. It doesn't take long to secure this. I'm going to let that dry for a few minutes, and then I'll just show you this that I've done. Let's put this down. Everybody's table looks so clean all the time. I try, but so let's show you what I did here. There I had, my husband did this for me, creating this word of bliss. And there you can see I've done pretty well the same thing as that card I showed you. I even did some stamping on top of her inside. I tucked some lace in and put that against her image. I used some cheesecloth embellishment, and there's my flowers. The other one I used, and I did butterflies this time, and I did a coordinating ribbon, and I had a little dingly dangly dragonfly that I used there. If you can see, under there I've got a doily. Got doily. So there you are. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that you found something that you want to try, and it doesn't have to be on a CD envelope. You can use anything, just building those collage sheets and having fun. So I'd love for you to comment if you want and ask any questions. I'm an ordinary crafter, just like you, having fun. And may God bless you. Let's take this off quick. See, it doesn't take long to glue. There you go. There's that card that we did together. I don't know, is it better to give or to receive it? I had fun making it to give. All right, bye for now.